Hey everybody, welcome to day 54, Reseller Reflections, a day in the life of a full-time reseller supporting her family. It is August 1st, 2024, and welcome to August. Yeah, so we are partially through the summer, summer slowdown, all that stuff. My word that we set every morning in Motivation in Minutes today was step. I find this is a really helpful intention when I have a day that I have an overwhelming amount of tasks to do. And I just remind myself, I'm just going to step from one thing. I have my schedule done from one thing, be where my feet are and, work on the thing that's in front of me. And it's all lined up on my schedule. And I did that and it worked. I this morning did not know. I woke up, kind of looked at my schedule. I'm like, I don't know how all of this is going to happen. Like, I really didn't know how I could make it all happen today. I was supposed to have a live sale. I do every Thursday night. I do a live sale on Facebook, Instagram, and our website. And, so I was a little anxious about getting it all done, but I'm like, it is what it is. I can only do what I can do. So I went, I got all the stuff done. And, like 2 hours before, I'm like, all right, the stuff's not moving to Shopify like it should. It's usually instantaneous. It's not working, reached out to tech support. And I was like, all right, and they're like, yes, there's a problem, blah, blah, blah. It's like, all right, well, do I need to cancel the sale or not? Now, I had spent part of my morning advertising the sale, getting everything set, and the rest of the day getting the items ready, which you can see some of them on the chair behind me. So I had to cancel the live sale. Yeah. So that was, a little disappointing because that was one of my goals until August 15th was to really hit the live selling and be very consistent about it. And so, these things happen. We have to pivot. I had another project that I pivoted and worked on, got some more listings up, but just super disappointing. But you know what? Maybe I needed the break. I don't know. Just trying to frame that in a positive light. So one thing I did learn from this is I'm never going to wait again until Thursday to put the items in. If I had put the items in earlier in the week and had them all prepped and ready, the disconnect between, our software and Shopify would not have been an issue. All right. Lesson learned. I'm not going to do it at the last minute. I'm not going to do it that day. I'm going to do it. I do better. I don't work well under pressure. I know that about myself. So I'm just going to do it in advance throughout the week, a little bit at a time, like I do most things. So, all right. I learned a great lesson from that one. I am going back to my quote, and this will be the third day that I'm using this one. Move toward the next thing, not away from the last thing. Same direction, different energy. James Clear. And I love that. I'm looking at it. I have it up on my thing here, and it's in front of me, and it really is pretty powerful when you put it into motion. Just looking at, what you're working toward and not, gosh, well, I'm doing the reflection now. So yeah, I am talking about the live sale that was rescheduled, but I'm not going to talk about it anymore, right? It's done. I learned my lesson, fail forward, learn my lesson, learn what I'm going to do differently next time. And that's the way you keep going. So, yeah, I reflected on it, done with it, over. Okay. On to the next thing, on to next week. And here's the good news is now the items are already ready for next week. So yay. All right. So I was listening to something today. I love Lewis House's School of Greatness podcast, and he was talking with Dr. Doty. I'm linking it up in the show notes because I thought it was so awesome. He's a neuroscientist, and he was talking about maybe more practical, like if you're not into the real like woo woo kind of stuff, like the law of attraction, but in more down to earth things. Like, all right, so I'm a scientist by training, so I'm not really into the woo woo and all of that stuff, but I could really wrap my head around what he was talking about, and the pathways in the brain, and some of it was over my head. Yeah, I'm not a neuroscientist, but I really liked it. I really recommend it. I think it's great listening, whether you listen on podcast or the YouTube video is linked up in the show notes. There were so many great takeaways on it. I'm listening to it for a second time actually tonight before I logged on here, because there's just so many awesome takeaways about like what you put into the universe and in how you frame things. So hopefully you enjoy it too. One thing I do want to talk about here tonight. All right. First, I'm going to make sure everybody's reset to zero, because what I'm going to talk about for a minute has to do with this. All right. The reset to zero challenge. I am reset to zero. My shipping is done. So, I mean, I still have to ship whatever sells overnight. And hopefully it's a ton, right? We did meet our sales goal today, which was super exciting for the summer. All right. Reset to zero. Workspace is clear, clean. Things are ready and lined up to list for tomorrow. My live sale stuff is ready for next week. And so I'm going to consider that reset to zero, because it's not going to move until next week, and it's all set. And I love that. All right. Reset to zero. Jill, Rusted Truck Relics, Jason, Santee Swapper, Shar, Fabulous Flamingos, Kathy Sings, Nick, Mr. C Chats, Vanessa, Brightest Holidays, and Judith R are all joining me on this Reset to Zero challenge, and it is absolutely changing things for the better. All right, so maybe one of our challenge members, I won't mention any names, reached out to me and said, I had a really rough morning and I didn't reset to zero last night. All right. That's fine. And I said, well, I'm not going to have to remind you tonight. And they were like, yeah, it really just messed up like my morning. Like it really just, I realized how important it is now. And I said, all right, well, that's good. Sometimes we need those things to happen, or we need not to do something to know how important it is, right? Like that's your reminder. Like you need to do that. I got my reminder today, for something I needed to do differently. But sometimes when we don't do something, it serves a purpose, right? Like if you had just gone along and done it every day, and it's almost like taking things for granted, right? So you had one day that reminded you, it was there to remind you just how important it is that you do this and do it every night and do it religiously. The other point about that I kind of wanted to make is, sometimes like when we fall off the wagon, whether it's, a diet or, resetting to zero, or maybe a goal we're working toward, and we have one bad day, one bad hour, it's tempting to let it derail you and just say, oh, well, I'll do it tomorrow, or tomorrow's a better day. You know what? Maybe I'll start on Monday. Maybe I'll, but the truth of it is you can start over and start fresh at any moment in time. It doesn't have to be August 1st. I mean, today has to be August 1st. Great day to restart, right? But it doesn't have to be the first of a month. It doesn't have to be the morning. It doesn't have to be a Monday. Like every single moment in our lives is an opportunity to reset and restart. So just when something like that happens, just tell yourself that any moment is okay to start over. It's okay. We're all going to, make mistakes. The problem is not making the mistake. The problem is continuing to put it off and continuing to make the mistake over and over and over again, and just say, oh, maybe later, maybe tomorrow, maybe, maybe at the beginning of the month, maybe Monday. But no, you can start over at any moment. Like you could start over that morning, right? Like if you didn't reset to zero, all right, well, yesterday I whatever, I realized how important it is, and you restart in that moment. You don't let it derail you. And this goes for so many things in reselling, right? We have a bad sales day, we have a bad sales month, we have, maybe a bad batch of items. And, we've seen so many people, quit because of one little blip on the radar, right? And think, this isn't going to work. But it's the people that just consistently show up and, that have been able to, stick with this. It's a hard business. That's why you need a community and you need support. But well, I think you do. I mean, I know I do. I know it's made such a huge difference. But remember, you can start again at any moment in time. You do something wrong, you make a mistake, like I made the mistake today. But I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to fail forward and do it better next time. And, what more could you ask for? My son also had an incident today, and I said, all right, well, I would have done the same thing, but, we learn from it and we move forward and we adjust, right? That's all we can do. All right. So everybody, I hope you have an awesome evening. I hope you are reset to zero if you're on this challenge. If you want to join, put it in the notes. I am moving the Reseller Reflections. We will still be on YouTube every night, but I'm in the process of moving this over to podcast. So if you know somebody that listens to podcast and is a reseller instead of on YouTube, go ahead, tell them Reseller Reflections. It should be on Apple Podcasts shortly. Sometimes it takes a couple days for them to approve it, but you can get it on Spotify and pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts. So, all right, everybody, have an awesome night. I will see you tomorrow on day 55. Bye-bye.